The once bustling office had fallen into an uncomfortable silence. Henry, the newly appointed manager, surveyed the room, noting the vacant desks that once held enthusiastic employees. The recent salary cuts had triggered a mass exodus, leaving behind a somber atmosphere. "Henry, this is unacceptable. How are we supposed to live with these reduced salaries?" Margaret, a senior employee, voiced the frustration that echoed through the room. Murmurs of agreement resonated among the remaining staff, who were grappling with the financial blow dealt by their own manager. Henry, unfazed by the discontent, tried to justify his decisions. "I understand this is challenging for everyone, but we need to make sacrifices for the greater good of the company. We're in a tough spot, and these measures are necessary." The tension lingered as employees exchanged concerned glances. Gary, a seasoned colleague, spoke up with a touch of sarcasm. "For the greater good, Henry, or for your pocket. I don't see you cutting back on your own salary." Henry, maintaining his composure, replied, "We're all in this together. I'm not exempting myself. We need to weather this storm as a team." The room remained divided, with some silently contemplating their next move, while others openly expressed their dissatisfaction. As the day unfolded, resignation letters flooded Henry's inbox, sealing the fate of those who had chosen to walk away from the company's sinking ship. The remaining staff faced an uncertain future, burdened by increased workloads and dwindling morale. Little did they know that this was only the beginning of the tumultuous journey that lay ahead. The office, now operating at half its capacity, was in chaos. The departure of several employees left Henry grappling with an overwhelming workload that seemed insurmountable. As the days passed, the once efficient workplace became a disheveled shadow of his former self. One morning, during a particularly heated staff meeting, Henry's frustration boiled over as he ranted about the state of the office. "This place is a mess. We need a janitor, and we need one now. The budget is tight, so find me someone willing to work for next to nothing." His plea echoed through the office, falling on indifferent ears. The remaining staff exchanged wary glances, knowing all too well that the chances of finding a janitor willing to accept a meager salary were slim to none. Meanwhile, outside the office window, Henry noticed a poorly dressed woman meticulously stacking cardboard boxes. Intrigued, he squinted, trying to get a better look at the woman who seemed to possess an unusual determination. A spark of an idea flashed in his mind. Gary, one of the employees still holding on, mumbled to his colleague, "Looks like the boss has lost his mind. A janitor from the streets now, huh?" Margaret, who had been with the company for years, replied with a sigh, "I never thought I'd see the day, but desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose." Determined to pursue his unconventional plan, Henry approached the window and called out to the woman outside, "Hey you, come in for a minute. I've got an offer you might want to hear." The woman, seemingly unfazed, continued stacking boxes. Henry, growing impatient, raised his voice. "I said, I've got a job offer for you." This sparked the curiosity of the remaining staff as they turned to witness the unfolding drama. Henry, feeling a sense of triumph, grinned and announced, "Watch and learn, rookies." Little did he know that his impulsive decision to hire the woman outside would set in motion a chain of events that would alter the course of the office's future. Ains, the newly appointed janitor, entered the office the next day, her presence met with a mixture of skepticism and amusement from the remaining staff. Despite the raised eyebrows and whispered comments, she approached her cleaning duties with unwavering determination. As Ains diligently worked, her colleagues couldn't resist making snide remarks behind her back. Gary, a persistent critic, sneered to Margaret, "So we traded a messy office for a mute janitor. What's next, Henry?" Margaret, however, observed Ains with a more empathetic perspective. "Give her a chance, Gary. Maybe she's just trying to make a living like the rest of us." The days went by, and Ains continued her work silently, never once acknowledging the teasing or the pranks that were played on her. Despite the constant mockery, she remained focused on her duties, maintaining a level of cleanliness in the office that had long been forgotten. One day, during a particularly tense staff meeting, Henry, clearly agitated, turned his attention to Ains. "If you don't find a janitor soon, I'll have to include cleaning in your direct duties," he declared. glancing at Ains with a challenging look. Gary, seizing the opportunity to mock, muttered to his colleague, "Looks like our silent janitor is in for more work. Let's see how she handles it." Unbeknownst to the staff, company owner Scott had been closely monitoring the situation through the newly installed hidden cameras. As the footage revealed Agnes' silent dedication and commitment, Scott began to sense there was more to her than met the eye. In the break room, Margaret defended Ains to Gary. "She may not talk much, but at least she's doing her job. Can't say the same for everyone else around here." The tension within the office continued to escalate, but Ains, undeterred by the teasing and unaware of the surveillance, quietly persevered. Little did she know that her unseen talents were about to be uncovered, changing the dynamics of the office in ways nobody could have predicted. Scott, the company owner, grew increasingly concerned about the declining morale and performance within the office. Determined to uncover the root cause, he discreetly installed hidden cameras throughout the workspace, connecting them to his personal computer. As Scott observed the day-to-day activities, the footage revealed Agnes' quiet resilience and dedication. In the privacy of his office, he watched her work diligently, oblivious to the mockery and teasing from her colleagues. Intrigued by her unnoticed talents, Scott began to sense a hidden potential within the silent janitor. One day, during a secretive meeting with Margaret, Scott voiced his observations. "Margaret, have you noticed the janitor, Agnes? There's something remarkable about her. She works tirelessly, regardless of the ridicule she faces." Margaret, who had grown fond of Agnes' silent determination, nodded in agreement. "Yes, she's different from the rest, but I'm not sure what you're getting at, Scott." Scott leaned in, lowering his voice. "I believe there's more to Ains than meets the eye. We need to dig deeper and understand what's really going on in this office. It might be the key to turning things around." Meanwhile, in the break room, Gary expressed his frustration to a group of colleagues. "This place is a mess, and now we have cameras spying on us. What's next, a reality show starring the janitor?" His colleague, Lisa, chimed in, "I heard Ains is getting some special treatment from the boss. It's all a bit strange, don't you think?" The tension and speculation grew as Scott continued to analyze the hidden camera footage, piecing together the puzzle of Agnes's untapped potential. Unbeknownst to the staff, the surveillance was about to reveal a side of Ains that would not only surprise them but also alter the course of the office's future. The tension within the office had reached its peak, with the staff unaware of the hidden cameras strategically placed throughout the workspace. Scott, having closely monitored the activities, called for a company-wide meeting to address the declining morale and performance. In the conference room, Scott faced a skeptical audience. Gary, always quick to voice his discontent, scoffed. "What's this meeting about, Scott? More budget cuts or another brilliant idea to fix the mess you've created?" Scott, maintaining his composure, replied, "I'm aware of the challenges we're facing, but I believe there's potential for positive change. I've been closely observing each one of you, and there's something you've all overlooked." As he spoke, Scott projected images from the hidden cameras onto the screen, revealing Agnes' tireless efforts and dedication. The room fell into an uneasy silence as the staff watched the janitor they had mocked silently at work. Margaret, realizing the significance of Scott's revelation, whispered to Lisa, "Ains was doing more than just cleaning. No wonder the office has been spotless." Scott continued, "Ains, our janitor, has not only maintained the cleanliness of this office, but has shown remarkable talents beyond her assigned duties. In light of this, I've decided to promote her to the position of executive director." The announcement left the room in shock. Gary, unable to hide his skepticism, muttered, "Executive director? Are you serious, Scott?" Scott, undeterred by the skepticism, replied, "Ains' commitment and unseen talents have turned this office around. It's time for all of you to recognize the value each member brings to the team." Ains, who had silently entered the room, stood at the front, a mix of pride and uncertainty on her face. Margaret, breaking the silence, clapped, encouraging others to follow suit. "Well done, Ains. It's about time someone saw your true worth." The atmosphere in the office began to shift. As Ains took on her new role, she implemented changes that revitalized the company. The staff, initially resistant to the idea, gradually embraced Agnes's leadership, recognizing the positive impact she had on the office. In the midst of the transformation, Scott approached Margaret and said, "Sometimes it takes an unconventional approach to bring out the best in people. Agnes is proof of that." Margaret smiled, acknowledging the unexpected turn of events. "You were right, Scott. We all underestimated her. Maybe there's hope for this office yet." The chapter concluded with Agnes's triumphant journey, from a janitor mocked by her colleagues to the executive director who revitalized the office. The once divided staff now united under her leadership, and the company thrived in the wake of Agnes's unseen talents finally coming to light.